Hello everyone, welcome back to The Happiest New Yorker, and tonight is the second runic reading that I am doing for this month. The night is the last night of Imbolc, which is sacred to the goddess Brigid of Celtic origin. She is the goddess of fire. And so for most pagans out there, or neo-pagans, they would celebrate this holiday in her honor. Now, I normally don't, because I have two other goddesses that I worship. However, I felt compelled, at least this year, to call upon the goddess of fire tonight. So I cast these runes out tonight, and Brigid is coming very, very strong, very, very heavy, in not only the warning aspect, but in the negative aspect of these runes. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Give me a moment. These runes came out like this when I cast them. I cast them several times and they kept coming out not only like this, but also like this. And each one of these runes is also in the negative aspect of themselves. So Brigid definitely has something to say. I'm not necessarily sure whether it's something nice or it's something that we all need to work on, but she's definitely speaking for sure tonight. And let's get to it. Let's see what the goddess of fire, the Celtic goddess of fire, has to say to all of us on what is considered the pagan beginning of spring. We're going to start with the past tense version here. This rune is Wunjo, and its ancient meaning means joy. Now, the values of this rune brings with it are very ancient. The essences of Wunjo are joy, domestic harmony, family, and well-being. Wunjo is supposed to represent the hearth as a base for departing and the refuge to which one returns. Now, remember, I did say Brigid is the goddess of fire more than anything else, and she is also a triple goddess, whose sisters' names are also Brigid and Brigid. All of them represent fire. So this one being thrown and having it represent the hearth is definitely very spot on and very strong. So as I stated before, Brigid is already coming out very strong tonight. Now, the family is at the center, and this rune underlines the importance of having strong and faithful ties. Because this rune was thrown in the negative, I will not be reading the positive words for it. Here's our negative here. And remember, this is in the past. So Brigid is talking about our past, whether it's recent or just in general. And these words are sadness, a sense of exclusion, solitude, arguments with people who are dear, a sense of being without roots. So this is for a lot of people who are floundering, who just may not know or may not have known what to do this year, or just may have been stuck, or, things like that, or may have gotten into even an argument with people who are dear to them, or even a small tiff, as I personally did with someone who I care about greatly. Happened probably over the last week, 2 weeks. So this one kind of hits a little close to home even for me as well. Thanks, Brigid. The message for this rune is that she speaks of the importance of our roots, which obviously for the past is always rooted in your roots. Like, you can't grow without knowing your roots. You can't grow without knowing your past. And our family is the first tie that we have with the world, and our love for them is the base of and the model of all of our relationships. Wunjo represents a full life, lived with intensity and courage, being sure of ourselves and feeling connected to all that we have around us. We can enjoy day-to-day life because our soul is calm and serene and nothing really manages to bother us. But as I stated before, this is also in the warning sense, which was also like this. So Wunjo warns us not to block out negative experiences from the past. Again, as I stated before, your past is what builds into your present and your future, both positive and negative memories, experiences. All of those are teachers to help us in our growth as we go on in life, and definitely for this year as well, especially since last year, 2020 was hell for pretty much everybody on Earth. We need to find these experiences to move forward into the present, as I just stated. Our roots should be a point of departure, not a burden that stops us from evolving into the person that we really are. Another warning given by Wunjo is to not solicit affection, but to find joy within our own beings. If we face the present with a calm soul, without doubts or suspicions, love will arrive spontaneously into our lives. Funny thing is, I've been getting a lot of that in other readings, and I've been seeing a lot of other people getting this in a lot of readings as well. So again, Brigid is coming down hard on a lot of us right now. Questions for this particular rune is, what type of relationship do we have with our family? Do we feel nostalgic for the past? Do we cherish our memories? Do we experience the joy in our life? How do we deal with our daily routines? At times, does it seem that we have never really grown up? Do we feel that the time has come to start our own family? Do we live the present intensely? Do we get along with our friends? And what stops our desires? As always, you can wear all of these runes as a pendant. And if you want to wear Wunjo as a pendant, it helps us to have harmonious relationships with our family and also protects couples. It stimulates understanding and harmony, ensures fidelity, and protects us from ambiguous situations. Now, of course, you would be wearing the rune like this. You never want to wear the rune in the negative. Whoa, not a good idea. We're going to move on to the next rune now. Again, this rune was thrown out into not only the warning, but also in the negative. This rune is Othala. All right, and its ancient meaning is nobility. Now, Othala literally signifies nobility and refers to all the things that we have inherited from our ancestors. Again, tying in with Wunjo, with past, family and memories. Our roots are very important, and we must recognize them in order to evolve as humans. Again, tying in with Wunjo as the roots and family and your past and all of this. Othala reminds us that we are the fruit of a long history, and that there were those who worked hard in order for us to be who we are today. Again, Othala is in the negative. Now, this would be its positive, but that's not how it came out. It came out like this and like that. So here are some negative connotations and words to think about when it comes to this rune. It's little substance, economic problems, frauds, prejudices, difficulty in finding one's path, excessive parental influence, and pessimism. So if anybody's going through any of that, if that rings a bell with anybody, well, Brigid is letting you know, hey, something's up. Now, the message for Othala is it exhorts us to value our feelings and to build strong ties. Its energy is directed towards the effective nucleus of life, which is faced with a global vision that embraces the past, present, and future. I'm really actually, as hard as she's coming down on us right now, I'm really liking this reading so far, because it really is tying into what has gone on over the past year and what we need to work on during the next year in order to make it better for ourselves. She's pretty much telling us to cut the bullshit. This rune highlights blood ties, again, with Wunjo family. As much as these relationships are stormy or have been so in the past, that is so true for me, most definitely with my family members. Really bad. Most of them I didn't even know. The ones who did know me either didn't contact me or didn't want to, or didn't care to. So I definitely get that, for sure. Sometimes I feel like the black sheep in the family. Many times I do, actually, like the unwanted one. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have gone through that or are still feeling like that. You're not alone. As I stated before, as much as these relationships are stormy or have been so in the past, they nevertheless remain important. To remove oneself totally is only an illusion. It is important to gather what is good and to smooth out misunderstandings as they happen. For the most part, I will agree with that. However, there are some family members who may be so toxic for your life that you cannot have them in your life in order for you to move on in your life or become more positive. And you've tried everything that you could to have them in your life, to work out misunderstandings, and it still doesn't work. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say it is okay to cut those toxic people off, especially even if they're family. However, know that you're never going to truly cut them off because they will always be your family, and that's not something that we choose. And maybe later on in life, you may or may not get along with them or smooth them out or have them back in your life, but just remember that no matter what, your family's family. Not much you can do about it. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. Now, as I stated before, this rune is in the warning. So Asala puts us on guard with respect to individualistic, and rebellious behaviors. For each one of us, it is important to emancipate ourselves and to find our own path. As I stated before, sometimes it's all right to remove yourself from a familial situation if it's not working for you. But to do so, we really need to look at our past in a calm manner and with gratitude. Again, Wunjo also said the same thing, that to look into the present and to the future with calmness and with gratitude and all of that. So these two runes are definitely tied greatly in this reading. This is quite incredible, actually. And Brigid is it's coming out very, very hard and very strong on all of us right now. Definitely should be listening. If this does not happen, our attempts at independence will be childlike and will not have the seriousness required to make them effective and adult. Leave old and infantile behavior behind and accept the challenge of growth with courage. It is all right to have your memories. It is all right to know your roots. But remember that having all of that, you look at it more with a growth sense, with the growth of an adult sense. Let go of the past. Let go of the childish things. Not all of them, because I do like my video games. I'm sorry. But, just looking at it as a child now is something that needs to go, is what she's saying. We need to start to grow up a little bit more. 2020 was hard. A lot of us, may have reverted to older, more childish habits. It's time to let that go. It's time to cut that off, throw that away, and move on and with more adult, mannerisms, thinking, and actions as we move on into the present and future. Now, here's some questions for you. Are we overly attached to our childhood? Do we always behave in the same way? Are we egotistical? Are we afraid of new things? Do we live with regrets? Do we have respect for traditions? What do we struggle to abandon? Does fear block our emotions? Are we often defensive? Do we respect hierarchy? Now, Atala consolidates unions and creates favorable conditions for increasing one's patrimony. So this is for if you want to wear this as a talisman. It represents well-being, prosperity, and protects financial enterprises. So, of course, again, your past and your roots might not only be your family roots, but it can also be your financial roots, what you've done in the past, what mistakes you've made, and to actually take those mistakes, use those, and grow with those more, and also, use that to build, financial enterprises, to build your money, to build your career and what you're doing, and learn not to make the same mistakes again. Leave that childishness behind. We're going to move on to the next rune and last one now. Now, this last rune was also not only in the warning sense, but also in the negative sense. This rune is Algiz, which means the ancient meaning for that is the moose. I'm going to turn this around so you can see what it's supposed to look like in the positive sense. I know, it kind of looks like a human or maybe even a bird, but that is not it at all. Okay? I'm going to turn that back over so you can see that. Now, it means moose, and it's a noble and untiring animal that for ancient Germanic populations, it indicates the capacity to defend oneself and persist in the face of adversity. I mean, this could also mean for populations now. So it isn't just tied to the ancient peoples of Germany and the ancient Germanic tribes, or, also the Viking tribes. Algiz is the rune of strength and of protection, and of one who places him or herself at the disposition of the community to ensure peace and well-being. The essence of this rune is generosity and the capacity to give without expecting anything in return, just for the pleasure of helping a neighbor. Again, all of this does tie in also with the first and the second runes of familiar roots and, building of the present, of taking all of that in. And remember, your roots and your family may not just be your actual blood family as well. Family can be friends, family can be neighbors, family can be community, and your entire community, whether it is ethnic community or where you live, or just in generalization of a community of a belief system, or, anything like that, or even a country itself, or several nations, or a whole region of the earth. Remember, all of that can also be part of your family and your roots. And so this rune definitely ties in with all of that, and is saying that there, especially in the future, I guess now, Brigid is letting us know that it is time to not be as selfish. It is time to remember our community, remember our family, whoever that is, remember our roots. Remember all of that. Remember all of these people who came before to build what we have today, to build what we have now, to let us be where we are today. And all the people who are around us alive right now who in some way or another can affect our lives or build with us, or, help, in the community that can help you in any sort of way, in any sort of influence. Remember all of them too. And remember that what you do sometimes can affect those around you as well. And so I believe Brigid here is trying to let us know that be mindful of those around you as well. And don't always look to do something with the intention of, well, what am I going to get in return for it? Because that's not necessarily doing something for somebody else, or, for the right reasons. Or not doing something good at all for the right reasons. And I believe that's what she's trying to tell us here with this. Again, this rune was in the negative. So I'm going to read that part for you. And these words are heavy obligations, impossibility to move, solitude, doubts, indecisions, insecurity, and inertia. Again, a lot of these can be brought on by people around us, which ties in, of course, to the first and second runes as well, to the community around us, what's happening in our world around us at the time. Because let's be honest here, our community and our family as a whole, we are one giant human family. And there's been a lot of bad shit. A lot of bad shit that's happened in 2020. And a lot of bad shit that's already happened in 2021. We're only a month in, and damn. And I believe that the goddess of fire is letting us know we need to burn, purge that negative, purge all that shit that's holding us back, purge all that anger, and come together as a familial community of humanity that knows our roots and knows how to take care of each other without looking for anything in return. At least that's what I'm getting from her. If that's not what you're getting from her, that's fine too. Whatever is resonating with you with this, please, leave comments on, underneath this video in the comment section. I will be more than happy to answer them or to discuss with you if you have any other questions about any of this. Now, the message for this rune is that it speaks of the fundamental importance of willpower. In the course of our lives, there will always be difficult situations, once again, leading back to the second rune of the present on, situations and people that may be affecting all of that, and affecting our present lives as well. What matters is the way in which we deal with them. The energy of Algis is one of generosity and selfless love. Only by acting with a pure heart can we overcome obstacles. Furthermore, Algis encourages us not to give up, but to forge ahead with tenacity and perseverance. We may lose some battles, but in the end, we will win the war. Really, it's significant. While she's not a goddess of war, she is a goddess of fire. And definitely with a lot of, anything that feels warlike or any of those warlike energies or, anger energies or anything like that, any of those aggressive energies, almost always associated with fire. So, it kind of makes a lot of sense that she's thrown this one out here as well. But because this rune was like this, I'm going to have to read this warning too. Algis inspires us to chase any shadow of egoism from our hearts and minds. This is not a moment to act alone or for our own personal advantage. Again, we are one giant human family, and this one is asking us to work together now to improve upon our lives on a collective as a whole and not just for ourselves. The human spirit is often clouded by negative emotions such as jealousy, envy, or spite. The time has come to liberate ourselves from these negativities and to attain openness and respect to others. Only in this way can we live our lives fully and intensely. Again, all of these are tying in. All of these. Others, as I said before, family could be anyone. Family doesn't necessarily have to be blood ties, even though that is very important. And it's important to know your roots in order to be able to move together as a human community, as one, into the future, as one, to unite and to come together as a whole. Doesn't matter where on earth we come from. Know where you're coming from. Respect where you're coming from. Use it in the present to attain that selflessness for the community in the future. Here are some questions for you. Are we capable of accepting gifts from others? How many true friends do we have? Are we happy in the company of others? Do we feel the need to stand out? Do we desire what we haven't got? Do we often feel jealous? Do others confide in us? Do we react with stress in stressful situations? Can we manage to put ourselves in someone else's shoes? What would we like to change about ourselves? Again, as with all runes, these can be worn as talismans, and Algis, when you wear it, stimulates creativity and gives us the gift of resolving problems in an original and efficient way. It also gives us charisma and makes us popular and attractive. Again, when working with the community, it's a good thing, not necessarily to be popular, but I think it is there as well to get people to listen to you, but also to be able to attract people to to either listen or, to receive your help or things or anything of that nature. Brigid has really hit us hard tonight. She has come out strong. She has come out with flames. She has come out burning tonight on the last night of her holiday of Imbolc. And I think it's something we need to think about. It's definitely, we should definitely be listening to this one tonight. And, being that this is what's considered the pagan beginning of spring, it definitely makes sense that she's telling us to purge all of that old, all of that negative, all of that death, if you want to look at it in a season sense from winter and fall and to purge all of that so that the land can be renewed. And that new growth and new life can happen. Remember, and let me use this analogy. With a forest fire, everything's burned. All the old is burned. All of that is burned, and the land is burned. However, the life that is grown from that land and from that earth after that comes back stronger, richer. It comes back more succulent. It comes back just with brand new, even greater life. And I believe that's the message that she's trying to tell us. Learn from our roots, from our familiar roots. Here. Use that in our present. And make sure that all of that ties in so that we can help our global community in the future. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. This was actually one of the longer ones. And this one was rather heavy. I feel a rather heavy presence even right now. So I believe that the goddess may be sitting here listening or just in some way here tonight on this video or in this particular reading. And I think that definitely she wants us all to not only look within ourselves, but, you know, definitely take the fire that is within. Ignite that fire within. Learn from your roots. Light that up. And use it to better not only ourselves, but our community as a whole, our human family as a whole. Because let's face it, this year has been a great divide in the family of humanity. It's been really bad. 2020 was very rough. It has shown a lot of anger, negative, division, hate. And she's now saying to purge all of that, burn all of that away, because it is time to come together as one human family and move forward with the positivity and rebuilding of cleansing fire. Thank you for watching tonight. If you guys like this, please subscribe. If you have any questions, as I stated before, please feel more than free to leave any messages in the comments. Also, anybody on Instagram and Facebook, I will be leaving a link to this as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really, really tired. It's like, I think past 2 o'clock here. So forgive the pauses and me looking absolutely dead. But as I stated before, please feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to talk about this or any other readings I may have at any time. Again, I would like to remind everyone else that I will be doing 2 more readings for this month. One of them is going to be coming up next is Valentine's Day. So for all of our lovers out there, I will be doing Valentine's Day. I will be calling on the Mexica goddess Xochiquetzal, who is the goddess of love and beauty, and actually one of the goddesses that I worship actively and regularly for that night. And the other one I will be doing will be a reading for the Chinese New Year. I'm going to have to research maybe, a few of the ancient Chinese gods and see which one will resonate for that. Please feel free to, stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button and the notification buttons for when that comes up. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video, and have a good one. Bye-bye.